Hey y'all, in this video, I'm going to share what to do when you are discouraged with your nonprofit or your business. Let's get into it. Hey there, this is Tiffany with Boss on a Budget. So I help people start their nonprofits and raise money for their startup nonprofits. And I drop videos every week. So if you are interested in starting a nonprofit or you need help, make sure you subscribe to this channel. But also I have linked a free nonprofit startup checklist in the comments so you can see what it really takes to start a nonprofit. In today's video, I wanted to share the real side of running a nonprofit, and I also think that this relates to running a business, so I'm just going to group it all in together. But I want to share the reality of having something or building something from scratch. And there's a lot of glamour around like starting something new, and there's a lot of excitement, especially for the person starting, like, I'm doing this, I'm putting my line in the sand, and I'm actually going to implement something, right? It's really exciting. It can be encouraging and exhilarating to do something, but when you get in the middle of it all, when you get in the thick of it, it can be really hard. And there are times where you're going to get discouraged. But my goal with this video is, in those times, I want to give you tools to figure out what to do, because I have been there myself. I've been there many times where I've been discouraged and not questioning my path and questioning whether or not I should still pursue certain things. And so I just compiled a list of 5 things to do when you are feeling discouraged with your nonprofit business or your for-profit business. The first thing that I would encourage you to do is rest or take a break. So I've noticed for myself that when I'm tired or when I've had a lot going on and I haven't given myself a time for a break, I make poor decisions, and also I have a negative outlook. And so anytime that I have a bad attitude about something, or I'm short, or I'm irritated, I ask myself, how much sleep did you get last night? Like, how much sleep have you gotten this week? Because that often is a culprit. That often is a reason why I am the way I am. So how does this translate when you are running a nonprofit or running a business? Sometimes, y'all, when you are doing all the things and you don't have the support of a board, or you really worked really hard on a grant proposal and it was rejected, or you're putting out some information and people aren't responding, it's easy to fall into that trap of being discouraged. It's hard. You have to be intentional about being positive. You have to be intentional about encouraging yourself. But when you're tired and when you're dragging, you don't feel like encouraging yourself. I've noticed for myself that when I am tired, negativity often outweighs anything positive that I can feel. And I try to be intentional about being positive, because I decided to have a business. I decided to help people. So I'm the reason behind why I did this. So I have to encourage myself. Nobody told me to do this. Nobody told me to get on YouTube 3 years ago and do this. But I decided to do it. So I have to be the one. Like, sometimes I have to pull into my source and the reason why I'm doing this to move forward. But when you're tired and you're irritated, it's hard to find that source. It's hard to go back to that why. So my advice to you is, when you are feeling tired and ragged and irritated, take a break. And you can look at this many ways. So put vacations on your calendar, even if they are staycations. And some of y'all are like, I cannot afford to get away from anything. But I really encourage you, even if it's just a day, to give yourself time to breathe and to rest. And I have noticed for myself that I have to literally write in my calendar that I'm going to take time away, because if I don't, then my calendar gets eaten up and then it becomes less of a priority. So I, for example, have decided I'm going to vacation at least a certain number of times a year, and I put it on my calendar and I plan where I'm going to go. So when you plan that, more than likely you're going to execute it. But even if you can't do a full-on vacation, like I said, just take a day for yourself and do something completely unrelated to your business or completely unrelated to your nonprofit. This is hard for me to do because I have a packed calendar, but I do try to be intentional about not having meetings, at least not scheduling meetings, so I have time to think and I have time to breathe. So there are certain days of the week where I block off my calendar so nobody can book time. And that's one way that I get rest, and that's one way that I breathe. I've started to intentionally take small naps so that I can give myself time to rest. Even though my mind is racing, even though I feel like there's 100 things going on, I force myself to lay down just so I can rest. So the first thing I would encourage you to do is find the places in your life or the opportunities in your life where you can incorporate breaks and where you can incorporate rest. The second thing that has helped me when I have become discouraged is to examine my team, because it really does matter who's around you when times get tough. And when you have surrounded yourself with people who have discouraging spirits or who are pessimistic or who really don't believe in the things that you're doing, then it's easy to fall into the trap of, oh, this wasn't going to work anyway. When you have people who never believed in the vision or aren't sold or bought into the vision yet, then you can't really tap into them when you don't have it for yourself. Because let's be real, sometimes you want to be able to go within yourself or go to your source or to your creator and say, I need help. But sometimes it helps to have people around you to affirm the things and confirm some things for yourself. Like, yes, I'm really supposed to do this. But if all you have around you are naysayers or people who just don't get it, then it's difficult to see that light sometimes when you're in a tough place. So what I would encourage you to do is, first of all, build a team of people around you who are bought into your vision. So be intentional about who you have in your space. Be intentional about who you talk about your business or your nonprofit with. Make sure you have business friends. And I'm not saying that your family has to be your business friends, because sometimes your family don't get it and they're never going to get it. And that's okay, right? Maybe it's not for them to get, but get some business friends. Get into a group, get a mentor, get into a mastermind, have meetups with people who understand what you're trying to do and who can encourage you and are excited for you for your business. Because it really helps and makes a difference when in that very moment you feel like you can't keep going, you get an encouraging word from someone else. So there are plenty of places to find supportive people. There are online groups, online forums, Facebook groups, LinkedIn groups, meetups that you can do. You can go to your economic development center in your town and meet people there. You can go to your chamber of commerce. You can join associations or join networks. There are so many ways that you can identify people to be in your circle and be in your corner to help support your business. So make sure you're intentional about having people like that around you and having people who understand and believe your vision. So that means you got to communicate your vision to people. That means you got to get people sold on your why. So know what your why is and communicate that to people so people can be champions for your business just like you. The third thing that has helped me when I've been discouraged is for me to examine what I'm consuming. And this can be taken a lot of different ways, but let's talk about what you're eating. That's one thing. Let's talk about what you're watching, and let's talk about what you're listening to. And so I'm not going to take credit for this, for examining this. I got this information and this way of thinking from my forever pastor, Kendrick Weaver. But it's very important that you examine the things that you put into your body, either literally or figuratively. Woo! I didn't think I could get that word out, but you know what I mean. So first things first, what you eat can have an impact on your mood and have an impact on how you look at things and what your outlook is. So I still haven't really conquered this because I have a complicated relationship with food, but there are certain kind of foods that make you feel heavier, that make you feel bloated, that may be clouding your mind that you may not realize is impacting, or they're impacting how you look at your business or impacting your energy level and maybe making you sleep more or may make you drag. And so if your whole body and your mood is dragging anyway, it's hard to get encouragement when you feel like blah, when you feel terrible anyway. The other thing is, what are you watching on TV or what are you consuming when you look at your phone on social media and things like that? And if you find that all you watch is negativity, like these podcasts are always talking about what people aren't doing and how people aren't enough, and if everything you're consuming is talking about lack, then I really do believe then your attitude will be around a lack of, and you'll believe that everything or everyone around you is lacking. If you instead consume things of abundance, if you consume things that are positive, that have a different outlook, a positive outlook, then I really do believe that you will then take on that stance in your life. So I really do believe in affirmations. I do believe in hearing positive things, because the reality is that we meditate on our thoughts, and either our thoughts are going to be negative or they're going to be positive. And I would rather meditate on the things that are good. I would rather meditate on things of my faith, like the word. I would rather meditate on positivity than consume things that are negative and have that repeated in my mind and get caught up in my brain. So if you are feeling discouraged, or you're feeling like lost in your business or in your nonprofit, think about what you're consuming and see if that's having an impact on you. This fourth thing is much more practical. So if you're getting discouraged about something not working, I want you to think about what's working and what's not working. Sometimes, and I've noticed this about myself, because we're used to a rhythm of doing something, we just do it without realizing, is it really having an impact? Is it worth my energy to put my time into this? Sometimes we don't take a step back and do that. And so there have been moments where I've decided to do something in my business because everybody else said you had to do it. So I just did it. And I'm the type of person, if it's something that's interesting to me, I'm going to try it. I'm going to see how it works. I'm going to see how it works for me, but I'm going to see how it works. And sometimes, because I get used to doing things, I'm not really thinking about, well, what's the point of it all? What's the purpose of me doing it? And not assessing those kinds of things and always evaluating where you are can really keep you trapped, can really keep you stuck. And so I encourage you to think about, what are some of the actions that I'm taking that aren't really producing for me? What are some of the things that I'm wed to that aren't really doing much for me? And I'm just going to speak for myself. So there are certain social media platforms where, when I was first getting started, everybody was saying, you got to get on this or you got to be on this. And so I was on everything, and I was trying to do too much. And it was very difficult to stay focused. It was very difficult to learn different platforms when all of them were different. Pinterest is different than Twitter, than Threads now, than Instagram, than TikTok, than Facebook. And having to learn how to be and how to show up on all those platforms is overwhelming. And so I had several platforms that I was on, and I was trying to do everything. And it was just became part of my thing. Like, I'm going to post here, 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 and here. But then I never paid attention to the data. I didn't look at the analytics. I didn't realize that me posting in one place was doing nothing for me. And so I was thinking about, making this very practical with my website traffic. My website traffic was coming a lot from one place, but I was investing more time in a different platform. I was investing a lot of time in Pinterest, but not much of my views were coming from Pinterest. More of them were coming from Google. And I didn't know that for a very long time until I looked at my data and I assessed that what was working for me wasn't what I thought was working for me. Another example is with YouTube. So I started doing YouTube videos just because I just wanted to try it out, and I wasn't really paying attention to the analytics. But then when I started to realize that people were watching my videos and that's where a lot of people were finding me, I decided to do more YouTube videos. I decided to invest more of my time in YouTube, and now my audience is growing, right? It still has, room to grow more, but my audience definitely is growing. So I just gave you all those examples to say that sometimes your data or your history will give you clues about where to go next. But if you're not taking the time to assess and evaluate what's working and what's not working, then you may be putting too much energy into something and wasting a lot of time. And when I wrote my notes for this video, I wasn't going to say this, but this just came up for me. I also want you to think about that in terms of relationships. And it could be relationships with partners or relationships with friends, whatever. But what are some of the relationships that you're investing in, or there are actions and things that you are spending time in that aren't really benefiting you, aren't helping you in the long run? So I invested some time in certain things or in certain people, but it wasn't really benefiting me in the way that I needed to benefit. And that was impacting my psyche. That was impacting my mood. That was impacting my energy level in order to be able to run my business. So I also want you to examine like what's working in your relationships and what's not working, and making sure that you're spending the time and the things that really matter. And the last thing that has helped me when I have been discouraged in the past is to assess whether what I'm doing is right or whether what I'm doing is not right now. Just because something is not working for you right now doesn't mean it won't ever work. So the fourth tip that I told you about was, focus on what's working, what's not working, and then devote your time to things that are working. And so the things that are not working, you may feel like, okay, I'm just going to abandon them. I'm not going to pay no attention to them. I'm going to go in this groove and go in this direction. But sometimes it's not just that we just need to completely forget it. It's not the right time. It's not the right season. And I also want to encourage some people who are feeling like, I've been doing this for a long time and it's just not working for me. And it could be that it's just not right now you're going to hit, but if you stay consistent, you'll eventually get there. And I really want to talk to those people who have been doing this for years and are tired. The last thing you want to do when you are feeling discouraged and you know this is right is to stop. So I encourage you to stay consistent, to keep showing up for yourself, keep showing up for your nonprofit or your business, because the consistency will reward you. And there are things and systems that I designed for myself and routines that I created for myself years ago, especially when it comes to doing my videos, that I forced myself to be consistent with. I have consistently dropped a video every week. There has not been a week since 2020 that I have not dropped some kind of video on YouTube. And that consistency is preparing me for other things. So it's preparing me when I do lives on LinkedIn or when I do my lives on YouTube, because I now, whenever I'm in front of a camera, I can go because I'm used to it. I've done it so many times. I have a framework in my head and it doesn't scare me like it scares a lot of other people when it comes to video. So your consistency will reward you. And sometimes you got to figure out if it's just not right now. And so what does that mean for you? Does it mean for you to keep consistently doing something even though it's not giving you exactly what you need right now, but that consistency is going to get you eventually where you need to go? So do that assessment for yourself. Is this right or is it just not right now? Because sometimes it might not be right. Sometimes you just do need to let it go. But there are times when it's like, yeah, this is right, but you're not there yet. And I really do believe that there's a time and there's a place for everything. And I really do believe that everybody's timing is different. Everybody's clock is different. So what success looks like for me may come way later down the line than somebody else. And so all I need to worry about is what I need to do, how I need to show up. And that has helped me. So I hope that encourages you. So thank you so much for watching this video. If you need help with your nonprofit, you can visit me at bossandabudget.com. Also, I do one-on-one consultations and also coaching. So if you're interested in that, you can also look for that information in the comment section below. Thank you so much for watching, and I'll see you in the next one.